how do I know this is God's will in my life? First, we have to be able to study the wills of God. What are the different wills of God? And you can break this down in so many different ways, so many different routes. I think I want to go from this angle of understanding these 4 types of wills. So the first type of will is God's sovereign will. This is God's perfect will. Not being conformed to this world. This is Romans 12:2, being simply uncaged. Romans 12:2, being renewed in the mind. Not being conformed to this world, but being transformed by his word, that we may be able to prove what is the good, acceptable, and the perfect will of God. So God has a sovereign will. A sovereign will. The second one is the preferred will of God. God has a preference of the way and the will that he has for our life. So Isaiah, it says that his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His plans are higher than our plans. And as the heavens are higher than the earth, his ways will always be higher than ours. This is God's permissible or preferred will. This is God's preferred will. The third one is God's permissible will. I always look at preference, permissible, preferred will. This is the third one, permissible will. That is God's free will. He is not a controlling God. God gives us a free will to act how we want to act, to move how we want to move. And the question is, are you yielding and surrendered to the power of the Holy Spirit? Are you under the yielding, the surrender of the power of the Holy Spirit? That's God's permissible will. And again, when I think about free will, we serve a God that is not a God that controls our every movement. Like, we can decide, and it's really up to us. And then the fourth one, which I really enjoy, I think we could do like topics and talks on this for episodes, is God's personal will over your life. God's personal will over your life. And the personal will is really broken down to 4 things. Now, everyone has a different personal will in their life. Everyone has a different one. Mine's different than you that are watching, those that are around me in ministry. We have a personal will, a personal assignment, a mantle, what we're assigned to. That is God's personal will over our life. And the personal will is broken down into these 4 things: what you're graced for, what you're gifted for, what you are passionate about, and what you can get paid to do. Grace, gifted, passion, paid to do. Okay. Now, there's a lot that we can go into each one, like the grace of God. The grace of God does so much for our life. Okay. So we could talk about even the grace of God. We could talk a lot about the gifts. There are the fivefold ministry gifts, Ephesians 4. We did a whole topic on talking about the gifts of the Spirit, Isaiah 11, the spiritual gifts, the book of Corinthians, administration gifts, Romans 12. So there's a lot of different gifts according to the Spirit of God. Proverbs 18:16, it says that your gifts make room for you. What you're passionate about. There's things that God has given you a purpose for, that you're passionate about. Things that, what would you be doing on a Friday night when nobody is telling you what to do? What are you passionate about? What are things that you research? What are things that you look up? What are things that you might enjoy that progresses you in life, that leads you to purpose in life, right? These are things that we can be passionate about. We feel purpose around our passion. And then the last one is what you can get paid to do, because we also get to get practical, that not all of us are going to be working for a local ministry and getting paid by a local ministry. Some of us are going to be called out into the marketplace in the different industries, restaurants. A lot of us are going to be called in different places, real estate, fashion, and retail. Okay, there's so much that we can go into, what you can get paid for, and where God is assigning you, because where he positions you, that's your ministry. That's your marketplace ministry. Joseph was a marketplace minister. He wasn't a pastor leading a church. He was in the marketplace of Egypt. You look at Daniel. He was in the marketplace when the Babylonians have taken over. Okay, he was in the marketplace when he was interpreting, and both these guys doing interpretations for the Lord. Okay, these are gifts that they accelerated and utilized in the marketplace. Again, going deep into this, and really how the Holy Spirit wants to lead it, but I just want us to know that you're gifted, you're graced. There's things that you're passionate about, but there's also practical things that you get paid for to pay bills. I once heard this, that they were like, Lord, I thought you paid it in full at the cross of Calvary, washed by the blood, that the blood that was shed was the full payment, and they still got us down here paying bills. But hey, y'all, we got bills to pay. We got things and to accomplish, and ministries to pursue, and to really run in purpose. So beautiful. God's will. I guess if there's anything that I could talk about, so we talked about the sovereign will. That is God. God is in control. That is his ultimate perfect will. The preferred will, which God has a preference of a way, right? He leads us beside still waters, out by green pastures. So God leads us and guides us. God has a preferred will, a better path for us. Permissible will, the free will to act. He gives us permission to have a free will to decide. And then the fourth one is the personal will. What we're graced, gifted, passionate, and what we can get paid to do.